Now, Extinction Rebellion is being considered for reclassification as an organised crime group following yesterday's protest that prevented many national UK newspapers from reaching the stands. Ministers are said to be considering protections for, quote, tenets of democracy, such as courts and the press, with reports suggesting the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, wants to take a fresh look at how Extinction Rebellion is classified under law. Let's get the thoughts of the co-founder of Extinction Rebellion, Dr. Gail Bradbrook. Dr. Bradbrook, welcome to you. Quite a stir you've caused. I suppose for you, does it matter that there's talk of reclassification of an organised crime, or is the point that you're in the news?
I think what this shows is that the establishment, who are so baked in the vested interests of these times, are feeling threatened by our ability to bring this topic fully into the public awareness. And the issue is that these newspapers are not covering the emergency to the degree that it absolutely needs to avoid the existential crisis and the collapse of our civilization.
Should Extinction Rebellion be the arbiter and judge of that level of coverage in a free democracy?
What Extinction Rebellion need to do is to point out that the policies of this government, 27.5 billion into roads, 100 billion into an aviation shuttle service, new oil and gas licences being promoted, being given away, billions to bail out dirty and polluting industries, are taking us in the opposite direction. The government has set targets that they're not meeting, and what that means is that our children are going to face food shortages, that the future of humanity is at risk. And I don't think that we have a functioning democracy if people don't have the full truth before them about what's coming and what's already here and the threats to our actual civilization.
And I know you're clearly, obviously targeting the UK government, but this action, you've managed to line up almost everyone on the political spectrum against you in terms of those who could make a difference right now. The Labour leader is not in favour of what you did, saying that stopping papers from being distributed and printers from doing their job is wrong. Sir Ed Davey, a former Environment Minister, leader of the Lib Dems, said this morning that you're shooting yourself in the foot. One of the directors of Reporters Without Borders, which is, the international NGO most concerned about press freedom across the world, does not think this is the way to go about positive change. From a press freedom perspective, there is a clear danger in what you're doing and restricting access to information. You seem to be alienating quite a few allies who might be able to help you.
Perhaps I could quote Miles Moore on Twitter. He says, "As a former Sunday Times journalist, I strongly support this action. Murdoch is the lord of the lies. He is doing incredible harm, and Times editors lack the vision to report on the climate and ecological crisis with the urgency it requires. Keep it up, Extinction Rebellion."
I don't doubt that, but he's not a politician who can affect the change that you want to see. Should you not be trying to get the Labour leader, for example, on side? And it's all very, very well having a former Sunday Times journalist on side, but you're alienating the people who could make a difference policy-wise.
This is the point that Extinction Rebellion are making, that our democracy, so-called, our media, our economic system is captured to vested interests, people who are making money from the current situation. They don't want to see change. We know that billionaires are actually buying up land so that they're safer. They are building bunkers right now. Ordinary people need to know that their children will be facing a future that's apocalyptic. We're talking about food shortages. We're talking about being asked to fight in wars, to fight over scarce resources. We have to make changes now. And the politicians, the media, the sort of economic system that we're running, it's all part of shoring up the current situation, keeping it how it is, and it has to change. We have to face this. And Extinction Rebellion took a one-off action.
Do you think the media, though, plays a role? I mean, you yourself wrote a piece in the Evening Standard. You clearly feel the media serves a purpose.
The media are not doing a good enough job here. Otherwise, Extinction Rebellion wouldn't be doing what we're doing. You know, you've had just this week the Daily Mail having a headline saying Boris says, let's get Britain flying again. No, we have to change our ways. We have to behave differently. The Sun ran a campaign to back fracking because the Murdochs had their money in the fracking industry. And yet James Murdoch, the son of Rupert Murdoch, actually resigned over his father's climate denial and pushing a climate unfriendly agenda.
Just finally, are you concerned about the potential reclassification of Extinction Rebellion as a organised crime group and what that might mean for your activities? Or are you not too bothered about that threat?
You know, Extinction Rebellion is comprised of lawyers, of scientists, of doctors, of concerned grandparents. These are people that are putting their freedom on the line, their lives on the line, their finances. They've been held in jail cells. Some of them have gone to prison. These are people that care so deeply about their future that in the tradition of civil disobedience in the past, they are willing to do whatever it takes, non-violently, absolutely peacefully, to ensure that we do what's necessary to make the changes. So it's very common. It happened to, you know, Nelson Mandela was called a terrorist. There was so much anti-suffragette propaganda and so on. It's very common to attack people that are doing peaceful civil disobedience. And I guess we see it as the threat that goes with the territory, but we've been willing to do what's necessary. I see Extinction Rebellion rebels as courageous people acting in love for life on Earth.
Dr. Gail Bradbrook, thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's have a quick look at the weather before we break.